Hi everyone, I'm so excited to be on tonight to talk through a few things that I've been getting questions about. So you may have noticed earlier in the year I did a video talking about I didn't know how to record, and I was working on trying to learn that side of things so that I could record a few original pieces, which I've now done and released 2 songs. I'm so lucky because my songs have been streamed in 32 countries. I couldn't even believe they were getting streamed in one, so 32 I'm pretty happy with. And not only did I record it, but I also made some music videos, which was a lot of fun. We'll talk a bit more about that. But why I'm so excited to share it is obviously I do love helping people. That's my passion in life. And I have had a lot of musicians and songwriters reach out to me asking for some tips and things like that. I do want to stress I'm not an expert. I just worked a few systems out that worked for me. It's all open source, so it's free. There was no outlay other than paying a distribution company to get it onto the streaming platforms. No outlay. So, and very minimal outlay to be able to stream. So you'll find that out too. But so let's start with what I used and how I did it and how you can do it. Most importantly, anyone can do this. So if you're writing songs, you want to get your music out there, or you've got a lovely voice and you can sing, unlike me, this may be some good options for you. It can be overwhelming at first. I know when I was researching some of the programs and things the experts are doing, it's above me. So this is a very easy way to do it, and you can get good results because I've been played on radios overseas and in Australia too with little to no experience. All right, so let's have a look. So the artistic process. So these are basically the things that I used. So we'll talk about I'm doing it again because it's reversed, OBS Studio, open source. This is fantastic. I'll talk a bit about that later because that's more about making the music videos. First off, I just used a Focusrite. So these little guys, it's a dual input, the one that I've used, and that just through GarageBand, which most people will be familiar with, free to use and very easy to use, very user friendly. I did have to look up a few things about, particularly when I was mixing tracks, and just a few little things that you might need to do for your particular style or song. So there's a bit of homework you'll need to do with that. But looking at a lot of the things I was looking into, it's definitely, for me anyway, the easiest to use. CANVA, so making things like your album cover or your single cover for Spotify and things like that. A lot of it I did on CANVA, and I didn't pay for premium. I just use whatever's free, make sure it's copyright free as well, so you don't have any problems like that. And also I did order a green screen, so that was a lot of fun. So just for some clips in the videos, you might notice that I'm playing in places I probably wasn't because I've got a green screen, which is where I use the OBS Studio. So we'll get into a bit more about this, and I hope that you can do it too. And if you have any questions, I'm always happy to help, so feel free to message me and I'll do my best to help you. Okay, so back to it. So as I was saying, I just used a Focusrite. I know they're pretty basic, but it gets the job done and really is what I needed to do. I don't have a lot of time to research it because I've got some other projects on the go as well. So best you can do without getting too complicated anyway, as far as I found. And then just into GarageBand. So you'll notice on my songs there's a lot of instruments, some of which I don't play. So I didn't have to buy this for these projects, but I do have a keyboard that has all the different instruments on it, so you can actually record them yourself. So a bit of bass, bit of keyboard, synth, things like that. But the beauty of GarageBand is, another thing about it, you've obviously got loops in there and instruments that you can make. You can even plug your instrument in and make it sound like another instrument. So there's a lot of flexibility there, but you can go as simple as you want to as complicated as you want. So you could just play your keyboard and sing, or you could play your guitar and sing. And the thing I liked about it, I did record in a real studio when I was a teenager, some originals with my sister that we wrote, and the guy actually didn't have it plugged in. We'd been recording all day for her 15th birthday and nothing was recorded. So we ended up being there until the AMs because we had to record everything again. But I remember it was just so tedious. If there was an error or he didn't like the sound or something, we had to do more takes. But these days everything is on a computer. So if you want a note held a bit longer, you do have the flexibility. You can stretch a note out a bit, or if there's a bit of too much string talk, you can remove that from the recording, so you don't have to do a lot of takes. The first song, Heavy Landing, was one take, and I found it just gives you so much artistic freedom, because I had a lot of songs that I had pre-written and I was thinking, yeah, I really want to record these. But, you know, some things happened and I got inspired and I started sort of just laying down some tracks and some progressions and thought I really liked that. And I could sort of hear the melody in my head and see these images. So I actually just recorded it as I went. Pilbara Sunset wasn't actually written as such. It was kind of just recorded on the spot. It's just something that I felt at the time. And it's just amazing that you can do that with the technology these days. So get into it. You're going to love it. If you get stuck, I do recommend ask AI. I know that sounds really bad, but if you get stuck on something, I just find it's a really easy way to find what you need. After looking at YouTube videos for hours, they are great, but sometimes when you just want to know one thing, trying to find the video with that one thing in it is really painstaking, especially when it comes to the part when you're mixing your tracks, because there's so much involved and you want to get the sound just right, and you might be looking at different frequencies and things. The odds of finding exactly what you need in a video, it's painful. So I just found that was an easy way. I could just ask, look, I've got, you know, it's sounding a bit too trebly, and, you know, but I've already adjusted everything, I'm not getting it quite right. I got some really good tips there. So for a first timer, I recommend that. Obviously, if you have a budget and it's something you want to spend money on, you're not just having fun with it or experimenting, pay an expert, pay someone you know that knows what they're doing. That's always a good option too. Or even get some tips from somebody that's into that. Being new back into music, I don't really know a lot of people. I'm sure if I've reached out, they would help, but I do like to work things out for myself too, so a bit of a control freak. I would accept the help though. I'm not saying I wouldn't. Actually, let's not go there. So next up, now, once you've recorded and mixed your song, I guess you want people to hear it. That's a pretty big thing. You've written something that's personal to you, and you think, you know, I've made this thing. It'd be so amazing if other people could actually listen to this. There's just something really, a sense of fulfillment in that. So you want to get it streaming. So the best thing to do is to look up some packages, see what you want to do. I know some people might be just wanting to release one single, something they can tick off the list, and you might want to pay a small amount just to release the one song. It is really inexpensive. The one that I went with, you can upload unlimited songs in it. It's under $50 a year, so you can't really complain with that. And I have found the delivery. I have heard some complaints about some companies that they're not delivering on time, and you pay them and then, you know, it never makes it to the streaming platform. Just look for reviews, do a little bit of research, use common sense as always. I went with Distrokid, and they've been absolutely fantastic. I can't fault them. I'm new to it. I haven't had any issues. So as little as I know, from my experience, I do recommend them. So check that out. At this stage, you should be able to record some music with no cost, mix your music, and then upload it for streaming. And that's what more can you ask for? That's just so exciting, isn't it? Of course, you can look at, I know these days when you do a launch or you're doing some gigs and people want to buy your song, USBs. So a lot of people are doing that now because some people don't have CD players. I know I don't anymore. Just thinking, I don't think because my car's pretty new, I don't think even my car has a CD player. Doesn't sound right, does it? But I don't think it does. So yeah, USBs, you can still get CDs made. Yeah, and I guess streaming's the way these days. So have fun with that, and I look forward to seeing all this original work just popping up from everybody, everyone giving it a go. We do need to compete with AI because I know there's a lot of fake music out there, and I think that's really sad. So the more creative artists out there making original human music, I think that's a wonderful thing.